Today we have Claire Cox with Dialpad to discuss customer goals and making decisions across voice and digital channels. Welcome, Claire.
Thanks, guys. Good to be back. I've been out on maternity leave and been back for about a month and a half. So excited to give you all a refresher, show you what's new at Dialpad, and hopefully continue the second half of the year doing some great things with the TDM and Claris team. So, like I said, give a nice refresher of the overall platform. Gonna focus in a lot on the contact center abilities and our agentic AI, which I'm sure y'all have been hearing that buzzword quite a lot lately. And then a few pieces of our partner program and some win stories. So for the platform, Dialpad is completely powered by our own AI that we acquired back in 2018. So with that, we've have our own UCaaS option, which is Dialpad Connect. So think of your voice meetings messaging, our AI recaps, and like action items post call. Those are just kind of foundations of that AI portion within our UCaaS offering. And then as you move on to this left-hand side of the screen with Dialpad and support and Dialpad Sell, those are our contact center offerings. So having those agentic options, whether that's going to be a chatbot, a human interaction, different channels, if you will, on how to communicate with your customers, WFM, QA scorecards, AI CSAT, coaching cards, playbooks, all of those things I'll hit on in a little bit more detail here in a second. But one thing I want everybody to keep in mind is that Dialpad owns the AI. So we're not using a third party for that. So with the security portion and just being able to interact across the platform is going to be much more seamless than maybe some of our competition out there. Things to keep in mind when you're speaking with your customers and things to think of as conversation starters, if you will, to have those conversations around UCaaS and CCaaS and agentic is what would have the biggest impact on their business today. So are they looking to reduce cost, get to that first contact resolution, whether that's with an agent, an AI agent, or whether that's with a human, maybe a chatbot feature? Reduce customer churn. Again, kind of back to that second point, increasing first contact resolution, and then scaling operations without having to add headcount, also without having to remove anybody's job, right? That AI portion is just to help everybody do their job better. And then make faster, better decisions with customer data. All of these AI components are able to give you much more insights into conversations rather than having to listen to hours and hours of recording. And then what's getting in customers' way? Are they having disconnected tools? Are they using a different contact center than their agentic portion, different than their UCaaS offering? Is everything integrated with their CRM tools, their service tools? Can't analyze everything in one sitting. So how does their analytics portion on their back end of their contact center and their UCaaS portion look? Insights. So you might have some tools that tell you how those calls are going, but how do you translate that into an action? And then driving that ROI and the impact and relying on incomplete information is also a huge piece as well. So we'll get into a bit of that on the contact center side as well. But why do companies choose Dialpad? So kind of wrapping up those last couple slides, that unified AI native solution, every interaction. So whether that's a phone call, a chat, the agentic portion, an IM, if you will, all of those are able to be analyzed and look into the analytics portion. Real-time agentic that improves over time. So you see this on the bottom left-hand side, this 13 billion minutes analyzed. I think that's industry leading. Again, goes back to having AI since that 2018 piece. So a lot more business communication insights rather than kind of piecemealing together that AI portion. So diving into our contact center piece here, kind of want to go through what a call journey could look like, whether you're on if you're the agent or if you're a manager. So I'm going to touch on what these look like during the start of a call, during and post call. Going to kind of skip over the transcript and the voice piece. Those are table stakes, whether you're on UCAS or a contact center for Dialpad. But let's jump into kind of the start of a call as an agent with playbooks. So you're a sales rep, or you're a sale or a agent within a contact center, and you see this right hand side. This is a look of if you were on a phone call. It's gonna maybe provide you a script that your manager put together or whomever, and these are all customizable, if you will. So it's giving you real time guidance. Do you need to talk about pricing? Do you need to speak to certain items during a call? And those will check off and add the answer that was discussed during that call. And all of this can be pushed into your CRM or your service tool. So helping sales reps or agents through a call, making sure they're guided during those conversations. And again, this will be within the analytics portion. So if a manager needs to go back over something at the end or look in the CRM, all of this information will be pushed there. But think of maybe if you're a sales rep on a sales call and your sales methodology might be Medic or Bant or one of those, you can add that in as the script here and make sure they're following that on every sales call. So that's kind of the start of the call, right? That'll pop up. Now, during the call, if you want those live coaching cards, again, a manager can make these and they can be customizable to certain groups of people or departments. You mentioned maybe pricing, or I need to return an item. Those could be those keywords that pop up these live coaching cards and can either give you a script, they can give you a link, helps those agents or those sales reps live to get to that kind of that first call resolution quicker. I think there's a great example of you put a sales rep or an agent their first week after training on the phone. They're not going to have all the answers, and you don't want your customers to be put on hold. So these live coaching cards will pop up and help move that call along much quicker and much more seamlessly for that end customer. Now, let's kind of move to the custom moments piece and think of managers and the analytics portion of it. So if, like I said, maybe pricing comes up or I need to speak with the manager, those can be tagged as custom moments and completely customizable for custom moments, right? And during calls, those can alert managers with a dial bot, and the manager can go look into the live call. Or you can see here, this photo is our analytics portion on the back end, and they can go search those key moments. So how many times was a specific word or phrase said? Was it positive or negative sentiment during that time frame? This is, I know I've mentioned this on many of our trainings here, the Tacova story. How many times was square-toed boots mentioned before Tacova's actually built out square-toed boots? And this is, they used custom moments to go find that in keyword search. And then AI assistant. So again, whether you're a sales rep, a call center agent, this right-hand panel here can be kind of like your QA search, or however you want to kind of filter those knowledge bases using generative AI. And so those sales reps can be on a call. Maybe it's something that those live coaching cards didn't pop up on the call. And so the agent needs somewhere to quickly type in a question for help. That can be here on this right-hand side within that contact center license. So just keeping agents being able to quickly answer any questions as a great knowledge base option. And then post call, I mentioned this at the beginning, whether you're on a contact center license or a UCAS license, you do have these AI recaps. So these are going to be post call summaries. These are listed under the contact. So maybe this Veronica Sampson has called 8 times. All of these recaps will all be listed within her contact list, if you will. You can have the summary, add the action items here at the bottom. The summary you can adjust to a couple sentences, bullet points, however you want to receive that information. It can be shared internally, externally. And then it provides you all of the transcript, those custom moments, a lot more information into that conversation rather than sitting there and listening to the recording. And then AI CSAT, another option on the back end. Most of us probably don't actually fill out those surveys post call. Press 1 if you had a horrible call, press 5 if it was great. Our AI CSAT will actually grade the call, whether someone fills that survey out or not, based off of those keywords, those custom moments, all of the AI and those 13 billion minutes that Dialpad has analyzed will give us an indication of how that call actually went. It could have started off poorly and tracked to being a positive call and having all of the answers from that customer answered correctly. Maybe the customer says, "Thank you so much for your help" at the end. All of those little pieces add up and provide that CSAT score. This is something to keep in mind, mainly with like auto dealerships. I believe a lot of those agents get bonuses based off of their CSAT score, and some other industries do similar things there. So always asking how agents and sales reps are graded is going to be a great option here. And speaking of grading, we have AI scorecards. So something on the back end that is actually tracking during the call, but will provide information on the back end of, did they ask maybe for the customer's name, email, phone number at the very beginning of the call? Yes and no. Being able to grade that. We will actually check those boxes off as the call goes through. This is great for managers to go back and say, hey, maybe this is a coaching opportunity. You need to remember to ask these questions, or this is a question that constantly gets missed. How do we integrate that back into the conversation? Maybe that's something we need to throw in those playbooks or those coaching cards to make sure our team is asking the right questions. So kind of went through start, during, and post call. That was a lot of contact center information. There are a lot more features to our contact center, but those were the main AI ones I wanted to hit on before jumping into this agentic piece. So Dialpad's agentic AI, end-to-end resolution. So you don't have to have human involvement. This can be a AI agent at the very beginning of a call. It can be an AI chatbot with our agentic portion, not just our generative AI. Enterprise scale and trust. So like I said, we have the security and guardrails around this rather than using an open AI source externally and integrating with it. Again, Dialpad's agentic AI is built in-house. And then voice and channel depth. So having both of those options, being able to start with a chat, move to voice, move to a human agent, all of those different interactions, and then measuring those outcomes and being able to actually optimize production, whether it's providing us insights into how we need to improve. Maybe there's questions that are being asked a lot by customers calling in, but maybe we don't have the answer to, can inform us of those. We can go in and build those out if needed. So Dialpad's AI agent, our agentic AI agent, is able to, again, provide that voice and chat option. I think we've all probably called in to refill a prescription or something, and you're talking to someone, and thankfully, since we're all in the industry, we realize it's an AI agent. But sometimes it will get you there at the beginning, and Dialpads is one of those that you won't recognize it immediately. The latency is very, very short, if at all minimal. And one big piece with Dialpad's pricing model here with our agentic agent is going to be interaction-based pricing. So if someone calls in and is talking to that AI agent and keeps saying, speak to representative, gets immediately jumped to a human, that is not something that we charge on. If we answer 4 or 5 questions that someone's asking, whether that's with the chatbot, the AI chatbot, or the AI agent, and we answer everything, it's based off of one interaction. So all 8 of those questions counts as one interaction. It's not going to be charged for those 8, if that makes sense. And I can help answer some questions around pricing towards the end here. When we think of our agentic AI and kind of Dialpad as a whole, these 6 industries we play really well in. Retail, for example, we've seen a lot of customers in this space. Think of you're checking on orders, people calling in, hey, where is this package at? I want to see when it's going to be shipped, whether that's through the chat or calling in. Maybe it's a return. Maybe it's in healthcare when you're refilling a prescription and you're speaking with that AI agent, and it actually will recognize, hey, I know you are sending your refill to this pharmacy, but based off of your home address, we see that there's actually a closer pharmacy. Would you like it sent there? That's something we've had with a current customer. So insurance is great as well with claims and policy questions. I have a banking story here towards the end, staffing. So screening folks, maybe having those initial conversations with applicants. Scheduling is a big thing overall for all of these different industries. And then legal, making sure that case qualification is captured correctly. Client intake, maybe getting those first couple questions, phone number, address, email. What are you called? What do you need help with? All of those can be taken with our AI agent, and then maybe it needs to go to a actual human for the rest of that conversation. As far as partnership with Dialpad goes, we have the options depending on terms and conditions to get up to an 11x spiff with Dialpad. To hit that 11x, you do include that agentic portion. There is a lower minimum for the second half of the year, which is $24,000 in annual contract value. Comes out to about, I guess, $2,000 per month for the agentic commit. So we've lowered that since the first half of the year. We are now spiffing on professional services. So there's an example here at the bottom. We'll divide the professional services cost by 12 to get that monthly recurring revenue. And then based off of what your spiff is here at the top, we will apply that to that professional services MRR and add that into the total. We still do not pay commissions on professional services, so it's a one-time spiff on professional services. Another big change that happened earlier this year, but I was out, so I'm saying that what's new for us now. There is no seat minimum in order for us to work together on an opportunity. We will still pay out commissions on those, even if it's a 3 or 5 seater. But in order to earn a spiff, there is still a $2,000 annual contract value minimum. And then something new as well is partner tap. So I know we've had conversations of working with our sales reps, doing some account mapping, since our sales reps don't take a hit on commission with working with all of our partners. So if that's something you're interested in on account mapping with a team, partner tap is something we can use prior to that. We can work through an account list, maybe that you have, current customers, prospective customers. We run it through partner tap, and then it'll spit out, hey, these are all the maybe 3 to 5 AI options that we use internally. We run it through our Salesforce. Do we have any open opportunities that we could partner on together? Kind of comb through those accounts and see what's going to be a good opportunity for us to work on together. And then I can align you with the appropriate sales reps to have those conversations around those accounts and see how we can partner together on those or prospect into those accounts. So if that's something y'all are interested in, please reach out to me after this as well. And then Winwire from a partner opportunity earlier this year. This is with an MLB team. One thing that I like to point out is who we beat out with our competition was RingCentral and Mitel. The customer did purchase all 4 of our products, and that agentic portion is what really kicked in this spiff number because they hit that 11x spiff. The overall pieces to the reason why they wanted the agentic portion was for the ticketing sales within this sports organization. And they wanted to be able to have integrations with their CRM tools. I do want to point out that this number looks very large because of that spiff. This was a 500 seat opportunity, so it wasn't a massive customer overall. Think 500 seats. If you're able to sell all of these products, this isn't an opportunity to have a large spiff. Similar here with this credit union. One thing I showed y'all earlier with that agentic piece is that financial services is a good fit for us. Again, selling all four products, beating out Ring, Zoom, and Posh AI for that agentic portion. And this was also a 428 seat opportunity. Again, let's have those conversations. I can get you aligned with a sales rep. Let's see if we can fit in that agentic piece, and we can have those conversations before meeting with the customer to make sure that we're all on the same page on if that's something we want to approach, or if we want to table it for now and we can always add it later. And then when to lead with what? So when to lead with our contact centers if the customer is looking to maybe dip their toe in just regular AI, if you will, have those voice transcripts, having some light routing, not a full contact center. They want the phones to work. They want those integrations to be there. But maybe when they need supervision or cues or skills-based routing, maybe some more heavier AI tools like those playbooks. Maybe we move to support and sell in that contact center space. And when thinking, hey, maybe agentic AI would be a good option there, is not just deflecting some of those questions that are being called into, how do I change my password? Or, hey, I need to refill a prescription. Those types of pieces, we can start having those agentic conversations around. And our sales org has a great ROI calculator on how to start calculating that so that it's not ever a sticker shock when we move into that piece of the conversation. So I am happy to answer any questions if there are any. I know I breezed through that pretty quickly, but
I know that's great. We've got several questions popping up. The first one is when a call center is using the agentic tools, how much of the process can be automated, no human, and what percentage of headcount reduction productivity happens?
yeah. So I guess the answer there is as much as you want to put into that agentic portion, feed it as much as you possibly can, and we'll help with that on all of the types of questions that you want that agentic agent to be answering. And then at what point do we want it to route to a human? Again, we're not looking to remove agents. We're looking to help them be more productive with questions that actually need to be getting to them. They don't need to be having conversations about how to reset your password or yes, your order will be there on Friday. Those are types of questions that could be handled by an AI agent. And so just again, with that calculator, we can determine how many calls are coming in about that and what needs to be moved off to an agent or off an agent's plate and into that agentic AI.
Okay, next question is, can the agentic agent be the same voice as the human agent that the call gets handed off to?
That is a great question. I don't know the answer to that. I'm going to assume no. I think the agentic voice is probably going to sound the same no matter what. I don't think we get to pre-record someone's voice and know that it's going to transfer to that voice.
Okay. Is the agentic solution available as a standalone product? If so, can it be deployed on top of existing prem or hosted phone systems?
It is not a standalone product yet. I believe that is ideally the direction Dialpad wants to go to, right? We just want to make sure that it's working seamlessly within our current customers and with our UCAS and contact center before we would ever try it on another solution.
Okay. What differentiates Dialpad from RingCentral, Zoom, 8x8, Teams Phone, and other UCAS providers?
Yeah, biggest differentiator without any of that agentic piece is just our generative AI. So we own it. We have had it since 2018. Again, before maybe some of those have added in their contact center portion, Dialpad has always owned its entire stack. So UCAS, contact center, AI, agentic AI, all of that is in-house. So we don't have to worry about any security concerns. I will say that we probably are in the same price range overall with all of those folks. But the biggest difference there is we own our entire stack.
And can you please review Partner Tap again?
Yes. So think of anytime we want to do any sort of account mapping, that would kind of be where we start with is let's you would send me your list. I would run it through Partner Tap. It would be secure. So only you and I would really see it. It would comb through our Salesforce, see if we have any open opportunities there, see where we could partner on those if there are. Also, run through kind of like what we see as insights, whether that's like with Zoom Info or any of the other AI tools that Dialpad uses internally to determine what would be a good account, what would maybe we've had some inquiries where they've clicked on our website, things like that, where we could share that information with you. I could align you with our sales rep that aligns to that account. And then we could have a more targeted approach when we actually jump on a call with the Dialpad sales rep to figure out how we want to prospect or actively partner on that account together.
Okay. Uh, like three more questions here. What can Dialpad's AI actually do for a customer today that produces measurable business value?
Yeah, I always like to jump to that Tacova story. So they didn't have square-toed boots when they first started. They actually had hundreds of calls coming in per month asking for square-toed boots when they first started with Dialpad's contact center. And the sales manager went in, typed in into the analytics portal, typed in square-toed boots, was able to filter who was asking for that. Was it customers or was it maybe their sales org bringing it up? Saw how often the question was coming up. And so they actually took that to their product team, built out the square-toed boots, and now that's their number one seller. Dialpad actually internally did that during COVID with how many times the conversation around do you integrate with Microsoft Teams came up. So ate our own dog food, if you will, ran those analytics and saw that that was something we needed to build out, and we did.
Where does Dialpad win against Five9, Nice, Genesis, TalkDesk, and other CCaaS platforms?
Yeah, I think our pricing is much more competitive compared to those folks. Again, go back to the AI portion. It's internal. Also, it's going to be a better experience for those customers that maybe are using one of those solutions, but are using a different UCaaS offering, since not all of those have or don't have a seamless UCaaS, CCaaS internally at their company. So it's also maybe beneficial overall for the billing portion for those customers. We do see a lot of opportunities, though, where maybe we start with displacing one of those competitors that was listed, and then we end up adding that UCaaS piece that the customer is using later down the road because it's not all on the same billing cycle.
And since AI is so generic, do you have case studies which our clients can read?
Yes, I can be sure and send out a few of those. I did have a video at the beginning I wanted to show y'all, but I can send that with this deck as well, and then make sure there's customer stories with the Agentic and just our AI in general.
Great. And bonus question, does the sales rep take a commission hit to work with us?
No, they do not. So it's a very big benefit to working with us. Our sales org definitely wants to work with partners. I believe we're almost about 70% channel led within our revenue team. So we definitely want to be working with our partners. I am more than happy to get you aligned with our entire sales org, whether that's going to be our commercial SMB, mid market, enterprise. So let me know where you like to target and what customers you have, and I can get you aligned with that team.